What's going on, party people? Welcome to another episode of the Men in Scoring Position podcast. I'm resident runner on second, joined as the claimed originator of the DX chop. He's known around here as the runner on third because he's always about to score. Travis Finch. Travis, how are you?
I'm great, brother. How you doing?
Good. You want to tell him that story about how you showed Shawn Michaels how to do the DX chop? Or?
Yeah, it's a pretty humbling experience. Most people don't know this. I had this fascination from when I used to play basketball. I always had my hand in my pants, and he was like, "Dude, you need to
playing basketball, yeah,
playing basketball, right?" And he'd be like, "Dude, you need to knock that off," and I was like, "You need to suck it." And then it just took off from there. It was crazy. Guys, that story is complete bullshit, as the rest of what we're going to say today. But no, seriously, if you're just tuning in, we are the Men in Scoring Position podcast. We are a sports-related podcast, sports adjacent, if you will. You can find us on any one of our social media platforms, Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, all self-titled Men in Scoring Position. You can also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Men in Scoring POS. You can email us any of your thoughts, comments, general overall points of view to meninscoringpod@gmail.com. We are exclusively through YouTube, and if you like us on any one of our social media pages, we will give you 2 complimentary tickets to the world-famous Laugh Factory. Billy, what do they always need to do?
Rate, review, subscribe, and tell a friend.
A plethora?
A cornucopia, if you will. I heard you there. I thought you were going to stumble into saying that we were at ESPN.com.
Yeah, seriously.
You're like, email us at ESPN.com.
Yeah. Seems legit. I actually stole a little bit of your intro there. I apologize. Not my best intro, but guys, we do have a lot of fun stuff today. We are going to do our quick Quips segment. We are going to do our Feeling Fine, Ridin the Pine recap. So it's exciting stuff after an exciting week. Very unpredictable week.
It wasn't just the best weekend of the – I mean, that's obvious. First couple weeks were kind of boring and a lot of defense, a lot of high scoring. This one was a super fun weekend. A bunch of things, didn't see coming. Like you're saying, it was pretty shocking. I mean, we're getting that first game right now with the London game. I mean,
yeah, Blake Bortles
shit.
MVP, baby.
Did anyone see that coming?
No,
I mean,
dude,
I know
nobody saw that coming.
It's London, but whatever. I mean, so Jags win 44-7 over the Baltimore Ravens. I just wrote down fucking London.
Yeah, well, I mean, remember, that would have to be my same thing. One of the reasons that we broke down on our last podcast with Stephen Hoover is I was like, it's a London game. Shit happens. So it was fascinating, man. I think Bortles 4 touchdowns, 200 and some odd yards. So that was wild, dude. And then what's that?
You see who his main target was, too, at least touchdown-wise? Mercedes Lewis?
Yeah, that was nuts. And it's so funny. I actually, in my one league, I have priority waiver, and I'm like, I don't want any of those guys. Those were all 1-week blunders. Yeah. But we'll get into that with our Feeling Fine, Ridin the Pine later. But, yeah, definitely London would have to be my one.
So they held Joe Flacco, I think, to like 20 yards maybe passing. Something like so silly. I was like, what the hell is going on in this game? I mean, Bortles
notable injuries, too. I think Macklin went out of the game, too.
Macklin concussion protocol in the first quarter. He came back, but didn't play very well. A late touchdown to Ben Watson was the only points that the Ravens scored all game.
I'm feeling pretty good about that.
That's just, yeah, we'll get to that. Moving on to another.
Goff was, or excuse me, not Goff. I don't know why I'm saying Goff. I'm still got that Thursday night game in my head. But Bortles... The one thing I do find I'm curious about is if this kind of eliminates a little bit of the Bortles, dysteria, if you will, or if he's still on the chopping block.
No, it doesn't. It shouldn't. And he's a garbage time quarterback, and the first time he's playing the lead and looked good. So, right. But there's nothing moving forward for me. I don't think he's very viable in fantasy, and I don't think he's that great of a quarterback, unfortunately, despite the fact he went to UCF. So these are supposed to be quick quips, Travis. So moving on. Bills 26, Denver 16. Tyrod Taylor's pretty good.
No, he's not.
Okay, disagree. Moving on. Carolina 13, New Orleans 34.
Fucking done with Cam Newton. That's what I think.
I'm saying that New Orleans does this weird thing every year where they treat September like preseason, and they've won one game. One of their, what are they? 2-8 in their previous 5 seasons, first 2 games. I'm saying that really weird, but like
yeah, that makes sense. Out of 10 games, the last 10 games in the first week, they're 2 for 10 or 2 for 8.
They don't win the first couple of games, and I mean this is like Cam Newton was pretty bad that game. This is 1 week we thought he was going to be pretty decent. I mean Benjamin went out in the first, but whatever. Yeah. McCaffrey looked okay. Talk about disappointing for me. Minnesota 34, Tampa Bay 17. All I'd say is disappointed. Case Keenum destroyed us. I mean, 300 yards passing. Stephon Diggs at 170 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wait, time out. Can you say that one more time? No, Case Keenum destroyed.
He fucking destroyed us, man. I don't know what the hell happened. Yeah. It was this weird onslaught.
Look at me now. Look at me now. Dude, I want to read off something that we posted to our Facebook page. Just know this. The Jaguars blew out the Ravens. The Bears beat the Steelers. The Vikings beat the Bucks with a backup quarterback. The Jets killed the Dolphins. The Bills beat the undefeated Broncos. The Patriots barely beat the Houston Texans. The Packers need an overtime to beat the Bengals. And the Redskins beat the Raiders. So trust me, this is going to be an interesting quick quip segment. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess, the only thing I can take away from this weekend is nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah.
We know nothing about football, apparently.
And what's funny, too, to circle back to that Panthers-Saints game, all the projections on pretty much any platform, whether it be Yahoo, NFL.com. Yahoo, excuse me. I do that a lot. NFL.com, ESPN, they were all like projection 18 points for PPR. I'm like, no, he's not going to do that well, and he did so bad. We're referring to Cam Newton, but I digress.
So, I mean, Tampa's got a lot to work on. I mean, we lost 2 starters on defense, but it wasn't like McCoy or David. It was Jacquez Smith and Chris Baker. So, I mean, they weren't playing cornerback or safety that game. There was no excuse for that. I know Minnesota's really good, and we've been talking about, at least I think they're a playoff team, and especially with that defense, and then now the offense with Dalvin Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook played really well. Feelin was good. Diggs was amazing. I mean, it was what it was. Hopefully we come back next week with a little bit of fury. Indy 31, Cleveland 28, an actual fun game. Jacoby Brissett. That's all I have to say.
Hey, feel good. You have your moment. Every dog has its day. It was interesting. T.Y. Hilton, he's a top NFL talent. It's a shame when a guy like him doesn't have anybody throwing him the ball. And Jacoby had his back that game, and T.Y. went off. So that was pretty cool. My main takeaway from that game is not Jacoby Brissett. It is T.Y. Hilton is still there, and he's still relevant.
He's like, guys, I'm still here. We said this too, but the Jets 20, Miami 6. I mean, that's a Jay Cutler-led team right there.
Yep. Now the rest of the world is figuring out what every Bears fan already knows. They're like, oh, man, the team to beat. Shut up, Colin Cowherd. You don't know shit.
Yeah, it's true. Shut up, Cowherd. Moving to a couple really, really, really exciting games. Well, let's get done actually with kind of a little more boring game. KC 24, the Chargers of Los Angeles 10. I'm saying it's 2 out of the 3. It's Hunt, Hill, Kelsey. Wash, rinse, repeat. It's 2 of the 3 every single week. This week it was Hunt and Hill. Last week it was Kelsey and Hunt. It's just they're fucking talented and they're good. And Hunt went off for 17 carries, 172 yards and a touchdown. I mean, fuck, this guy is good.
He's really good. Good. And you know what, too? Not to take away from Hunt, but it seems like you never see a running back not thrive in that Andy Reid system, especially out in KC. Yeah. I mean, you got Spencer Ware coming out of nowhere. You got, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, Charles for all those years.
Yeah, Jamal Charles. I mean, so I think like it was a blessing in disguise that he went there, on top of the fact that he is a good talent.
Well, that's actually a really good point. I mean, you look back to with Philly when he had Deuce Staley and Brian Westbrook.
I can never say his name right, but West. Chankarik West.
You got this. I believe you.
No. That's it. That was my last attempt. Charkandrick.
Charkandrick.
Yeah, Charkandrick. Durick?
Nope. Charkandrick.
Yeah, whatever. It's a stupid name. But yeah, he did really good.
Tennessee 33, Seattle 27.
Tennessee's here.
They're here?
They're here.
good. Get used to it. Mine is still waiting for Seattle. Just waiting.
Why is everybody? I don't get that.
Sleepless. I'm sleepless in Seattle, man. I'm just waiting.
And you know what? It looks like, you know, who else is back is DeMarco Murray. I think he had 14 carries for 115 yards, averaging 8.2 yards a carry, and had a touchdown. So we couldn't have been more wrong in that regard, thinking that it was Derrick Henry's time to shine. It shows that still some tread left on those beautiful tires.
I mean, one of those was a 75-yard touchdown. So
just only 75, no big deal.
No, but I mean, you take that out, and that's 14 carries for 40 yards, so it's pretty average.
Sure.
But he did break the big one, and everyone always said he lacked speed, and he wasn't, whatever. And he was, I mean, at the very least, against such a stout run defense with all those talent on there, all those fast guys. I mean, if you pull off a 75-yard run, I mean, that's pretty impressive to me.
Right.
So moving on to actually some really, really exciting games. We're kind of flipping around as far as like time slots go. Philly 27, the Giants 24. On a last-second
61 yards, baby.
61-yard kick from Jake Elliott, a.k.a. I'm calling him Billy Elliott because he's got the best feet in Philly. Because Billy Elliott was a dancer. It's good. It's a good reference. So 61-yard field goal as time expired. He made it by the hair of his chinny chin. Fun game.
It seems like I think that is probably the best rivalry to watch. No, like. Not intensity-wise, Baltimore-Pittsburgh, or historic, like Chicago or the Packers. It seems anytime these two teams meet, it is just a fucking last-second shit show.
Yeah, I mean, they always talk about Dallas Giants being like the big rival. But I think, you're right, coming out of that, in the NFC East, the Philly-Giants game is always really good. I mean, you look back a couple years ago when Deshaun Jackson had the punt return for touchdown to win the game. I mean, this year, OBJ caught the one-handed touchdown catch, which was super awesome.
He had another really good one. You're talking about last night?
That's what I'm talking about, last night.
Yeah, that was insane. I really thought that they were going to call that back, but they didn't. They actually let it ride, which was – it brings us to, the inevitable question, what is a catch,
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
Nobody does, buddy.
Speaking of what is this, what the fuck rule – okay, Atlanta 30, Detroit 26 – what the fuck rule was that? The 10-second runoff?
If I'm Golden Tate, I'm retiring today.
Have you been able to figure that out? I don't know.
It makes more sense to be confused about this than say like McNabb's I didn't know time can run out kind of deal. But, I mean, maybe we can pull that up throughout the segment and kind of figure out what the exact definition of that rule was. I just know that my heart broke for Lions fans. I mean, it seems like week in, week out, if there's one franchise that's getting screwed over, it's these guys. Yes, they have these fourth quarter comebacks, last year, which was pretty amazing to watch. But then even as a Bears fan, I remember when Calvin Johnson got robbed of that game-winning touchdown. No Bears fan is going to say that wasn't the case. We got really, really lucky on that one. And with situations like that with Golden Tate, it's like it was a clear touchdown. At least in my opinion, I'm lost. Can you?
No. So I disagree. So when I was watching it, all right. So I kind of thought it was this rule. But I didn't know it exactly. Okay, so what happened was, if you guys didn't see this, Detroit Lions are driving. They're, I think, on the 5-yard line. There's 9 seconds left, 3rd and goal. Slants over the middle. Tate catches it, gets tackled. It's pretty close. They call it a touchdown on the field. Now, since it's within 2 minutes of a half, coaches aren't allowed to challenge it. It immediately goes up to review, and as well as they review any scoring play. Now, the important thing was they called it a touchdown on the field, and then when they looked at it again, it was clear that his knee was down and the ball hadn't crossed the plane yet. So it should have been Detroit Lions ball, half-yard line, 8 seconds left. Detroit still had a timeout, 4th and goal. But since they called it a touchdown on the field, and it was reversed, it's an automatic 10-second runoff, and there's less than 10 seconds left, so game's over. So, it's such an odd rule, especially because it mattered that they called it a touchdown. If they would have called it a non-touchdown and reviewed it, and it would have stayed the same, there wouldn't have been that runoff. But since it was reversed, so it's this weird rule where it's like they're policing themselves, but they're also hurting. That's I'm sure they never envisioned that happening, like that exact scenario, but it's you got to look at that rule then, man. That's unfair.
Right. No, absolutely.
Especially because it was 3rd down, especially if they had a timeout. I mean, I think maybe they lose a timeout then in that scenario. Like, that's one rule you need to look over. I doubt it'll ever happen again, but it happened there. So, I mean, you got to just pay attention to that rule in the offseason and maybe get rid of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they're gonna keep that rule if there's enough uproar, if you will. You know what I mean?
Oh, uproar because they're lions?
Mm-hmm. You like what I did there? I'm kidding. I'm way too dense to be that clever.
I mean, that was a great game, though, too, barring the silly ending. And, like, yeah, our hearts go out to all you Lions fans out there. That's such a shitty way to lose. And you guys the past couple of years have been winning these last-second games, and it just was fate. Like, we were watching the game.
Yeah, we're tired of watching the Detroit Lions win. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right, yeah, you know what I mean. Another great game with the last-second comeback. We have the Pats 36, Houston 33. Again, just a super fun game.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. That's my one takeaway from this game.
Yep, agreed.
You too?
I mean, it was shades of Alabama Clemson there. I mean, that was just super fun. Him and Tom were going back and forth. Watson looked like a starter. Made a few mistakes, which he's a rookie. It's going to happen, and anytime you put up your body work against Tom Brady, you're not going to look as good. Brady, I think, threw for, 350, 360, a couple, 3 or 4 touchdowns. Gronk looked really good. Cooks looked really good. Hogan looked good.
Yeah.
Was it 5 touchdowns he threw? Because he threw 2 to Cooks, and then Hogan had 1.
I just found it fascinating that he was able to get Cooks in the mix. I felt like Cooks, going into it, was a good fit. After the first 2 games, I'm like, oh, this isn't looking like it's working out. And then that was kind of his coming out party, which I was like, okay, Cooks, you're here. Let's see what you can do. And again, with Patriots, any given Sunday, anybody's ball.
I mean, it was just super fun watching. I watched the highlights 4 or 5 times. I watched little clips here and there, and just the Clowney play. You know, them trying to double Watt the entire time. The Cooks toe tap at the very end where he caught the ball and somehow the body awareness to tap both his feet down within. His body was making him go outside the end zone, and yet he somehow in the air was able to stop himself and then double toe tap and then fall over. I was like, that was just so cool. And then Gronk looking like Gronk.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about that too. It's because he's the best in the game. Mm-hmm. You know, there's nobody better. Not Kelsey, not Jimmy Graham. Gronk is the dude, and if he's healthy, you can't stop him. I don't care what defensive scheme you put on him. Even a Luke Kuechly's going to get hurt, or you know what I mean. It's just.
Well, so then what do you attribute the first game to? Then was it him kind of getting back from back surgery?
No. Well, honestly, buddy, he was good that game, and I know this is going to sound really blasphemous, but it was Tom Brady was really bad week 1.
Really?
I watched that entire game. From start to finish, and he was not on point. To say bad is a stretch because he is the GOAT, but I will say that he was just not on point. He was overthrowing, he was underthrowing, he was throwing behind. But when he gave Gronk a chance, and he also was not looking Gronk's way a lot. I think they got in that bad rhythm where it was 9 attempts and 2 catches, but 7 of those I solely put on Brady. And then when he finally started looking at him, it's the first catch was a touchdown, in my opinion, which they ended up calling back. And so he finally was like, okay.
It clearly wasn't a touchdown. You can't have an opinion on that. The ball came out.
Right,
It wasn't a touchdown.
Listen, I started him. I'm still sore about it. I ended up losing that week because of it.
I think that just shows you how good of a fucking safety Eric Berry is. I can't say was. He's out for the season, which stinks. But, that shows you how good Eric Berry was. That's a couple weeks ago. We're still stuck on this weekend because we still have a couple games left to go over. I'd say let's go over the shocker last night, at least in my opinion. The Washington Professional Football Team 27, Oakland 10. Carr looked fucking sleepy. Lynch did not look good, and Kirk Cousins was the man possessed.
He's a good quarterback. Are you finally on this with me yet, or are you still?
I've always been on this.
I don't know about that. We're gonna have to find footage on that because I don't know. I don't know. He likes that, and I like that. Do you like that?
No, it's okay.
I know it's just you, but I'm asking you a question.
No, it's got to be somewhere between a question and a statement.
You like that?
No, that's a question. So he was 25 for 30, 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was really good.
He He is good, man. And it was funny in free agency this year. He was the highest touted free agent in terms of financially. I think it was $22.5 million.
Well, you get the franchise tag, yeah.
Right, he got the franchise tag. And I was thinking, like, as a Bears fan, I'm like, I don't want to pay that for Cousins. Hindsight 2020, I think he's just one of those guys. He's a football player, and he's good at his position. Not great, but he's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
No, I agree. What's funny to me is that people were like, at least maybe like taking it aside, and we're like, oh, he should get the long-term deal. Meanwhile, it's his third year in a row, I want to say, where he's getting the franchise tag for 20-something million. He's like, I'm all right. Like, I'll be okay.
No, it's you know what it is. It's a business at the end of the day, and you got this guy from Michigan State who wasn't really supposed to be the man. They put all their eggs in one basket with RG3 and Shanahan. That obviously didn't work out. Then here comes this kid who's winning games, and he's also putting up kind of gaudy numbers on any given Sunday. I mean, how many times have we seen Kirk Cousins throw for 300 yards? You know what I mean?
How many times are you going to say any given Sunday on this podcast?
Maybe it's one of the worst football movies of all time, and I just want to throw it out there. God, I hate that movie. I cannot sit through that movie. I'm like the only sport.
It's terrible.
You too, right?
We've talked about this multiple times.
I barely listen to you, man. It's just we do our podcast and we go our separate ways.
It's true. We didn't hang out at all yesterday. I mean, another takeaway from this game too. I know I was getting on you earlier about quick. I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead, please.
I apologize. Chris Thompson. We'll get into him a little bit too.
Dude.
6 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown. I traded him in a keeper league last year because I'm dumb. So we got 2 more games, I believe. Green Bay 27, Cincinnati 24 on a Mason Crosby field goal in OT.
Dude, they're not that good of a football team. They went up against the lowly Bengals and barely won. I'm sorry. I mean, just call a spade a spade. Are they a good team? Sure. Is Seattle, let me ask you this. Yeah. Seattle and Green Bay, are they who you thought they were and everybody's just letting them off the hook? Or what's up?
I would say I'm still waiting for Seattle to turn around because I have blind faith in them. And my takeaway, to be honest, so I had picked, I mean, you were doing a eliminator pool. I'm also doing a eliminator pool for work. I picked Green Bay. Even when they're down 21-7, I'm not joking with this. I had 100% confidence they were going to win the game. I was like, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
They're going to win.
I think it's more like bravado at that point. You're like, we're not fucking losing to the Bengals. It's just not going to happen.
We're not doing it. I'm not going to lose.
I'm not today, Captain.
So that was a pretty fun game, though, too.
Yeah.
And
a lot of kickers starred. A lot of kickers.
The new offensive coordinator, Laser, really opened up the playbook, got Mixon involved. Dalton the Green looked like old Dalton the Green. And, yeah, I mean, that was a pretty fun game to watch, too. I mean, this weekend was really great.
I'm starting to believe that Andy Dalton, I know you keep bringing this up, but he is good-looking. He's a good-looking guy.
I was the one defending him last night.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm team Big Red in terms of looks, not production. Oh man.
We do a fantasy football segment and a fashion police segment too.
We do.
But we got one game left we haven't talked about, the neglected game, if you will. Travis, do you happen to go to this game? What game am I talking about?
The future Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears defeating Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and 66% of the time wins his Super Bowl, Ben Roethlisberger. It was a great game, man. I was really pissed off with the officiating, though. I felt that there was a fumble that Howard had that was just not okay, and I didn't like it. But all in all, we came out with the W in overtime, and we couldn't be stopped, man. Howard, stud, elite. Tariq Cohen, it's lightning and thunder, I think is what he's calling it now. Mike Lennon.
I'm really glad they came up with an original nickname for the backfield. Yeah. Thunder and Lightning. Never heard that one before.
Right. Peanut butter and jelly was taken, I think. 15 completions for 22 yards and 22 attempts and 101 yards. He had a 68.2 completion. His average pass, Bill, let me ask you a question. How long do you think his average pass was?
Was it average per attempt?
Average per attempt, correct.
And he had 20. How many attempts did he have?
22.
22, so that's about 4.8 yards per attempt.
4.59 yards an attempt. His longest. You want to guess that one?
17 yards to Tariq Cohen.
My man. 17 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. It's a 74.2 ratio. I am fucking done with this guy. If you would have heard the way that Bears fans were eating him alive yesterday, dude, if this guy suits up again, it's bad news. He did nothing, and granted, game plan has a lot to do with that. I understand, but it's Trubisky's time to shine.
I also want to add the stat that I think Bears wide receivers had combined one catch for 9 yards. Yeah. 1 catch, 9 yards. Shaheen gets the touchdown. You have Cohen and Howard out of the backfield, the only ones catching passes.
All we did was run the ball, and our special teams looked really good, man. I was really proud of our special teams.
Do you want like 30 seconds on that? The block field goal thing? You want to talk about that real quick?
First off, I thought it was common knowledge that you hold on to the ball until you get into the fucking end zone, dude. Have you not learned who was the guy on Dallas? Leonard or Lenoy or whatever? Leroy?
Leon Lett.
Leon Lett. I mean, if nothing else, you do not do that, man. You hold it the entire time, and he's slowed down. You have 2 giant jumbotrons in Soldier Field. You can just look and see, like, this guy's on my ass. Maybe I should just get past it. So he royally screwed that up. And then your boy Connor Barth missed a fucking field goal earlier on in the game. I'm sick. Oh my God, dude. I could just go on for hours on this, but we don't have time. And bottom line is we came out with the W. Roethlisberger is as bad as you would imagine on the road. I saw that up close and personal. We were at
it's weird.
We had great seats, man. We were basically like 50-yard line right up front in the 100 section, 11 rows back. So we saw it all, man. Jordan Howard, dude, insane, great runner. Tariq Cohen, just balls, man. We have a taller, stronger Darren Sproles, and that's exciting to have.
Did you hear what happened to Darren Sproles?
What's that?
Did you hear what happened to Darren Sproles?
No.
He tore his ACL and broke his arm on the same play.
Oh.
Yeah.
How much pain was that guy in? Is that measured in Kelvin? What the fuck? Jesus. My thoughts and prayers go out to him, man. That's tough.
He's always a great player to watch. So it sucks we're gonna lose him for the year, but maybe come back next year.
He's got to be. How old is he now? He's got to be nearing the end of his shelf life in terms of what he can offer to the game of football.
I think it's his. Was it 2017, 12th year, 13th year, something like that? Because I remember he played in Kansas State, 03, 04, somewhere around there. But yeah, no, I mean, I think he's got hopefully 1 year left, at least. I hope this is not career ending for him.
Yeah, no, that's it's wild, man. But I'm kind of at a loss. He broke his arm and tore his ACL in the same play.
Yeah.
What was he? Did he get martied? It was just 2 defenders that fucking split him in half.
Yes. Yes.
My God,
so
dude.
Speaking of career ending, I think maybe we have something to talk, Travis. We should possibly end our career as predicting fantasy football.
Hold on. Before we do that, let's eat crow and predict what's going to happen tonight on the 25th. We have one more matchup.
That's not eating crow.
No, because we're going to fuck it up somehow. But you got the lovely Cowboys and the Cardinals.
My prediction, Cowboys 45, Cardinals 17, Zeke Elliott 180 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns rushing, and 1 receiving.
Fuck. Cardinals pulled the upset just for No, yeah, this is Monday night, man. I think Larry Fitzgerald goes off.
Okay.
I really do. He does really well in primetime games. For off memory, I got to pull up the numbers, but I think he does well.
Yeah.
And I think the Cowboys are on everybody's radar, man. And yeah, he might get some nice stats, and fantasy-wise might be okay, and Dak might have a 220-yard game, but I think old man Palmer's in it today.
Okay. Well, before we perform self-flagellation and going over our
flagellation,
our feeling fine riding the pine picks, I thought we would just mention that both the men in scoring position are still alive in their head-to-head eliminator pool, aka Deadpool. With this past weekend, yours truly picked the New England Patriots. Man, was my butthole clenched for that one. Travis Binns over here picked the Kansas City Chiefs, handily defeating the L.A. Chargers. Still weird to say. I want to say San Diego every single time.
No, you know what? It might be again, man. We had your buddy over last night from San Diego, and he was saying, I'm sorry, I was speaking to another gentleman at the game, a couple beers yesterday, that was saying that in San Diego they protest, season ticket holders are burning stuff. I mean, all the typical stuff you would think. And nobody in LA gives a shit. Like, nobody cares.
I just love how, like, the idea, I mean, just in my head, the idea of, like, someone burning something going, this will solve my problem.
I know, it's so petty. It's so petty. And you know what? Yours truly over here did it when Julius Peppers went to the Packers.
You burned his jersey?
Fuck yeah, I did. Dude, no, you don't take a star. You get, like, cast-offs. You get our Cedric Bensons, things like that, Martellus Bennett, but not Julius, man. Not Dr. J.
So I want to, I guess maybe let's get my one win. So we
all right, feeling fine, riding the pine recap. Let's do it.
Feeling fine, riding the pine.
It's hot.
Yeah,
it's super hot.
You like that? My one win out of 10. I said I based. If you guys didn't hear Friday, we did our little fantasy preview. I based mine on the ESPN projections, whether or not these guys would get above or below their projections. I felt fine about them. I'd say they get above it. Riding the pine, I'd say below. My one win out of 10 was I said Terrell Pryor should ride that pine, and I hope that he did for you because he was projected at 13, only got you 3 points on 2 catches for 19 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was and Kaiser did well, which is kind of an anomaly in that because you think like that would be his go-to guy.
Cousin.
What's that?
Cousin.
That'd be his cousin.
No, cousin.
Oh, I'm sorry, cousins. Yeah. Sorry. That's right. Terrell's on Washington. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I have all my stats over here, and I'm like thinking aloud, but. I apologize.
When it just says Pryor, Arrow, Washington.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's wild. He only had 2 catches that whole game, huh?
Correct. Yep.
Oof. I'm not doing much better in a couple of these, man. I got some of these written down. My feeling fine riding the pine picks for the listeners are a little bit different than Billy's. He does projections over or under, like he just explained. Mine is more so for deeper leagues, maybe guys you have on your bench or guys you can waiver wire pick up. Obviously, not the top 50 guys. That being said, I said for quarterback you should do Kaiser. I felt pretty good about that. He was projected at 18, got 21.
Yeah.
And then
240 yards, 2 touchdowns. The only thing that kept him only at 21 was he threw 3 picks. But again, that's from a rookie. It's to be expected. And it was a good matchup. So that was a good call.
It was a good matchup. 2 other guys I thought kind of coasted along with but did okay on was Mark Ingram. He got 10 points. He had 2 receptions for 30 yards. And Amir Abdullah, I know everybody had Riddick as the guy, but he got you 10 points. So if you started those guys in your flex, or as a running back too, I feel like that's a win.
About projection, yeah.
Right.
Just about projection.
The one that I do feel good on that Billy was like absolutely not was tight end Benjamin Watson in an undersaturated tight end league. He is
garbage time.
Hey, listen, 10 points is 10 points, no matter how you cut it.
Backup quarterback. That's bullshit.
10 points, baby. And Marquise Lee, another guy that you were not high on, got 10 points. So all these guys were okay. The one that I really ate crow on was Rashard Higgins. He only got 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
let's go to all my losses.
Yes.
I was feeling fine about Cam Newton. He's projected at 19. I thought he'd get above that. He ended up with 7 points for you, 167 yards, 3 interceptions. Blah.
Killing
Jarvis Landry, projected at 12, only got you 10.
That's okay. Hey, no. You're all right there.
Cooper Kupp, I liked too. He projected at 9 on Thursday, only got you 3.
It's weird how they're using him. I thought they'd be using him a lot more.
No, they have. This is the first game he's been under double digits.
Is it? Yeah.
The big one that I'd say I was wrong about out of this one was I thought, well, not a big one, but the one I was kind of reaching for was Jack Doyle, the tight end for the Colts. I thought that he would go off against this really bad, the Browns are really bad against the tight end, and I thought he was going to get at least double his projection. He was projected at 8. He got you 1 in standard PPR scoring, one catch for 8 yards.
Yeah, it's tough.
He just wasn't very good.
Again, super undersaturated tight end league, man. You're kind of grasping at straws if you don't have the top 5 guys. So I'm looking at my hates, and I probably could have won all my matchups if I would have just started this team. Frank Gore, 12 points, 1 touchdown. That was a that was a ride in the pine for me. The one that I was right on was Kenny Golladay, 4 points, 2 receptions. Jimmy Graham ended up getting 7 receptions for 72 yards, putting up 14 points on average. The two that really fucking hurt.
Do it. Let's hear it.
Dude, T.Y. Hilton, 28 points, 153 yards, and a touchdown.
I believe the number 1 wide receiver fantasy this week.
Yep. Yeah. So trust me, man, whatever you're going through, I'm eating it now. And this one's really going to sting. I told everybody to sit Chris Thompson. Who got 30 points, 150 yards, 6 receptions, and a touchdown. So, fuck.
Is a legit target for Cousins moving forward, and Rob Kelly being nagged with injury, especially the rib. Ribs are always tough because they can linger for a while.
Right. And at that position, too, you know what I mean, where he's really taking a beating.
And Samaje Perine looked pretty pedestrian. I think he averaged under 3 yards a carry.
Well, that's why I said everybody needs to sit him, because I thought that Kelly was going to be the dude. It was going to be P. Ryan, but, man, Thompson. Oof.
I mean, Thompson has proven himself to be, as I just said, a target for Cousins and a great third down back and someone who has potential to play a little more in that offense and, I mean, continue with these catches, especially in a PPR league. I mean, I think he's got to be top 5 so far for running backs, points-wise. Got you 24 last week, got you 30 this week. I mean, holy shit.
Yeah.
So a couple guys that I said should ride your pine, but hopefully you started them. You didn't listen to me. Tyrod Taylor. He's projected at 14. I thought he wouldn't even meet double digits. He got 17. Very solid. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 yards rushing. I mean, against a super stout Denver defense. And moving forward, too, this is a guy that was the hardest part of his schedule, I'd say, against defenses. So moving on, I mean, he got through Carolina, he got through Denver, and then now he plays in the AFC East with pretty bad defenses there, and the rest of his schedule. I think, and this is a guy you could definitely, if he's available, I'd say pick him up. You know, especially if you have a questionable quarterback, or at least for a bye week play, he's a pretty solid matchup. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to get you the negative points, and he'll get you some rushing yards here and there. Another guy that I was completely wrong about, I think we mentioned before, DeMarco Murray. I mean, it's a 75-yard touchdown, so that's the way I'm viewing it.
But we're not calling it garbage time, correct?
No, there's a difference. So, I mean, he got you 14 for 115 and a touchdown. Again, a lot of it coming on a 75-yard rush. So you take that one away, and he's averaging about 3 yards a carry, but you can't take it away because he did it.
Right.
And he got you 18 points this week. So, and he looked pretty healthy with the hamstring. Another guy that I was kind of about, Alan Hearns, got you 11. He got three catches, 20 yards, and a touchdown for Jacksonville. And the last guy that I was wrong about, of course, is Zach Ertz. I thought it was a bad matchup for him. I was incorrect. He got you 19 points. So, fuck my life.
But you know what, dude? You start to look at the body of work, and you know you can make a little bit better projections. Hopefully, we'll be a little bit more spot on with our hates in the coming weeks.
We probably won't, but we're going to still give it a shot.
We need data, guys. We need data. Who would have thunk that Chris Thompson and Zach Ertz were the dudes? I mean, it takes a little bit. It's a learning curve. But by all accounts, though, if I can give any of you fantasy football junkies any advice when it comes to the quarterback position, enough with Cam Newton, either bench or drop. I know it's a name that hurts to drop, but there are guys that are actually producing.
Drop Cam, pick up Tyrod.
I disagree. I do not like Tyrod Taylor at all, but there are guys out there like Deshaun Watson, Kaiser, my man Hoyer. No, I'm kidding. But
I would much rather have Taylor than Kaiser.
He's very appealing, but again, in terms of fantasy production, I've had him for the past 2 years, and he's a 15, 18 point guy. Yeah. I would rather have a guy that could, like that 20 and 20 to 24, 25. And there are guys out there that have that potential. With Tyrod, it just doesn't happen as often. Mm-hmm. It really, really doesn't. You're sitting right around the 15, 18. Carson Wentz, didn't have the best game fantasy-wise, but I think he bounces back from that. And, guys like that. So enough of Cam Newton, guys. Let it go. Maybe circle back later on in the season or next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off the huge shoulder surgery, and I think we've mentioned it the past couple of weeks, so he just doesn't look right. And this could be a 6-week, this could be, an 8-game, this could be the entire season where he just doesn't look right. And he's
now, who is their backup? Do they still have Derek Anderson?
still their backup. I would not suggest, because they're still 2-1, so I would not suggest benching Cam as far as that goes, football-wise. But fantasy-wise, I'd say, yeah, what you're doing, like either let him go or at least let him sit on your bench for a couple weeks, see if he can recover, if he can't come back, because this guy does have the potential. I mean, we saw him 3 years ago with the MVP.
Absolutely, and he's a dual threat. He's got a cannon. He can see over the line. He's fast. He's hard to bring down. I mean, he's Cam Newton, but he's just not Cam Newton right now. No,
I mean, and Benjamin went out in the first quarter, so that didn't help. And then that just left them with like punches. Olsen's out. McCaffrey looked pretty solid. I think he had 10 catches, like 100 yards, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
It was his first, like, pretty solid game catching the ball out of the backfield. So, yeah, I agree. Just, kind of sit him or at least, something like that for the next couple of weeks. If he can prove himself to be healthy, great.
Well,
if not,
Christian McCaffrey, I felt like it was a breakout game for him because he had – I think he had like 20 points in majority of fantasy leagues. So he had 101 yards on 9 receptions, So, I mean, that's finally kind of his breakout game. I've been starting him as a number 2 all week. So I think that's exciting for things to come. And it could be injury related in terms of everybody else is out. So he kind of has to check down. But either way, man, I think McCaffrey's a stud going forward.
Sure. Yep.
So, guys, if you have stuck through us this whole time on the podcast for our Feelin' Fine Ridin' the Pine recap and quick quips, thank you so much. If you have any fantasy football questions, any advice need given, we give a lot of PPR advice, so feel free to contact us on any one of our social media platforms, Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, all self-titled Men in Scoring Position. You can also find us on Twitter and Snapchat at Men in Scoring POS. Email us, please, any of your thoughts, comments, general over points of view, to menandscoringpod@gmail.com. This will be uploaded to YouTube either tonight or tomorrow, latest September 26th. And Billy, what do they always need to do?
Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. If you see something, say something.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what's that thing that's usually around like Thanksgiving dinners? Not a plethora, but
cornucopia, if you will.
There we go. And guys, always remember, if you like us on any of our social media platforms, come to 3175 North Broadway, the world-famous Laugh Factory, Chicago. We will give you 2 complimentary tickets to a show. Guys, we love you. Thanks for all the support.